There you can see where I propped the camera up yesterday trying to film a video, and I didn't have any luck. There were issues with the camera, so I think I've got it all fixed today. So let me set you all up so you can see me. Okay, I bought a tripod out today and got you all set up, so hopefully my camera cooperates today. My name's Lisa. It's been a long time since I've made a video, and I just felt like getting out in my garden and sort of going over what it's looking like now. And it's almost time, well, it actually is time for me to start some seeds inside, and I want to get my supplies out of the building back there and just start working on that. And I thought it would be a good time to take a look at the garden, and I wanted to share my plans for this year. I didn't share anything last year. It was the first year I've had a garden in a long time. I've always gardened in the ground, and I dealt with raised beds for the first time, which wasn't a total success. I did plant a couple things in the ground because I ran out of room in the beds, and the things in the grounds did a lot better than what I grew in the beds. But I've learned a few things, and I'm going to try some different things this year. So I thought I would bring you along for the ride. And I know that previously this was an unboxing channel, and I've sort of gotten away from that. I don't get any subscription boxes at the moment, and that doesn't mean that I won't in the future, but right now that's not something I'm interested in. And I want to apologize for the helicopter noise. So as I was saying, I live really close to a National Guard center, and the helicopters fly over a lot. It seems to me that's picked up in the last couple of days, but it also could be that I'm just not used to being outside. In the last few months, it's been too cold to be outside. Today, it is like 62 degrees. Tomorrow, it's going to be 73 degrees. But we are not done with winter here. We always have this little warm spell. Sometimes it's in January, sometimes it's in February, but we'll probably have even some snow again, so not looking forward to that. But anyway, I'll probably be sharing some of my gardening activities and stuff throughout the spring and summer, and if you'd like to stick around for that, I'd love to have you. And I think what we'll do now is just take a little tour, and I'll tell you a little bit about my garden. So I built these beds last spring. I used some railroad ties that I had purchased from a gentleman a couple years ago, and I stacked them up too high on these front two beds, and then I just took cedar fence planks and made the ends. And then on this back bed where I just have, where I just have the one railroad tie, I used a cedar plank to make the sides a little bit higher. And I didn't have enough room to grow everything I wanted. So this year I'm going to do a couple of things different. Goes a plane. I also live near an airport. So the first thing I'm going to do is take these two beds down to one railroad tie and duplicate what I did back there. So that's going to give me two more beds, and I think what I'm going to do is put them out here and just extend the beds this way. because I got this little building over here and I don't want to block it. And I don't know, in that corner, which is a mess up there, that is, there's like a little stream behind the fence over there by the apartments. And when it rains, all that water just comes and settles right in here. And I just don't really want to plant anything in there if I can avoid it. I did plant a fig tree over there, and I don't think it made it through the winter. I'm not going to dig it up until spring comes, but we got down below 0 for several days, and that doesn't happen here in Kentucky all the time, but this year it did. So if I buy another one, I'll probably keep the tree in a large pot so I can pull it in the garage during the winter. So that's the first way I'm going to increase my growing. And then I started seeds last year for like my tomatoes and peppers, and I quickly filled these beds up and then had some more. Here comes another helicopter. So what I did is I had a little bit of cleared grass on this side of the deck, and I grew tomatoes and a Tabasco pepper plant there, and we'll go over there in a minute and take a look. But those two plants did awesome over there. They were just like, grew really, really well, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So what I've decided to do this year is all along this chain link fence here. I think I paced it out and it's around 40 feet. I'm going to do tomatoes and peppers. That way the tomatoes can use the chain link fence as a support, and it won't be shaded by that house until really, really late in the afternoon. I don't know if you can see, but the sun right there, by the time the sun sets on our really, really hot summer days, it's going to be just fine for them to grow along here. And in fact, I think that's why these plants did so well, is because after about 6 o'clock at night, the shadows from the house put them in shade, and they didn't get near the scorching as the tomatoes that were in this bed did. So we had a really weird weather year last year. It was a really wet spring, then a really dry summer, a really hot summer. So everything struggled. I still enjoyed my garden and got quite a bit of food out of it, but I'm hoping this year's going to be just a little bit better. So let's take a look at these beds. This bed last year, I had tomatoes. I think that's all I had in here, in this bed. No, I had tomatoes, and then along this arched trellis that I built using a cattle panel, I had cucumbers. And that worked out great. They just, like I said, anything I grew in these raised beds just didn't do that well, except the Bait Alpha cucumbers. Those did wonderful. And then you can see right down here, I ordered a bunch of garlic and didn't really know where to plant it once I got it in, but I had to get it in the ground late last year. So I planted a little bit of garlic on this side, And then in this bed over here, I did another row down this side. And then the rest went into the kiddie pool. So I've never grown, nope, forgot about that. Also in this bed, along this side. And this won't be ready to harvest until July. So that's why I planted it along the edge of the beds, in each of the beds, so that I could plant other things in the beds and not lose one whole bed to garlic. So we'll see how that works out. I've gardened for many years, off and on, but I don't have, how do you want to say it? I'm not like an expert at gardening. I just do what I like to do, and I like watching what other people do, and I read a lot. So we'll see how things turn out. But since we're here at this bed, I'll tell you what I did last year. I tried I think it's called the Three Sisters, where you do corn, zucchini, and beans. The corn did fine. I didn't get a lot of corn because I only could get maybe 8 stalks in there, and they each produced 1 ear. So, excuse me. And I just don't think in my setup that I'm going to grow corn anymore. I might grow some strawberry popcorn because I have the seeds, and that's something I always grew as a kid, and I want to grow it for my grandkids. I think they'll enjoy it. We always did. And then the zucchini did well in there. But I'm going to rotate things around this year, so I'm not sure what's going where just yet. I'm going to have to look and see what I'm going to plant, and then plan out where I'm going to plant it. And here comes another helicopter. So then on this bed, as you can see, I did the cattle panel arch, so it arched between the 2 beds, and I really, really enjoyed that. On this side of the cattle panel, I grew sugar baby watermelon and something else, cantaloupe. And I got maybe 3 watermelon and 2 cantaloupe. And I don't know if it was because of the weather or because the bed was crowded, because I also grew all my peppers in here. I had cayenne, Tabasco, and at the end here I had a huge tomatillo. And I got tons of tomatillos off of it. And then I get to reading and hearing people say that you have to have 2 tomatillos in order to have fruit. And I didn't. I just had 1. So I'm not sure how that happened. I got it from a nursery. Yeah, I still don't know how that happened. But anyway, this coming year I'm going to grow 2 tomatillo plants. I don't really need it. The tomatillos is probably the best producing thing in the garden. That and the Bait Alpha cucumbers. And I made tons of salsa verde with those tomatillos. That's one of my favorite things, so I was real happy with that. And then finally, over here, I got these black trays from my mom and dad's house. My dad has since passed away 2 years ago, and mom doesn't need this kind of stuff. So I took them, put holes in them, put dirt in them, and then I got one of those little greenhouses. You might be able to see where I had it set up around these containers, and attempted to do some growing inside. It's like a cold frame, and I tried to get some broccoli and stuff going, but I had never grown brassicas and cold hardy plants, and I didn't start them soon enough, so that really didn't work out. And since we'd had such a mild winter, I never took the cold frame down, and we got, I don't know, we got such high wind the other day. I can't even remember how high or how fast they said the wind was blowing, but I came out here the next day and it was gone. I don't know if it was gone before that, like if somebody hopped the fence and took it, or my guess is the wind took it. But it's gone. I walked all around the neighborhood, and we have this forested area back here where all sorts of deer live and come out. And yeah, it's nowhere to be found. So late last summer, I decided I was going to grow the tomatoes along this fence. So I laid cardboard down, and then I just started, every time I mowed, I just worked my way down the fence and put the grass all on top of the cardboard. And then if you look in these beds, last summer, they were this high, and they've sunk, I'd say, a good 4 inches, if not more. And I knew they were going to do that because I put twigs and straw and cardboard and that kind of stuff in the bottom, and then put my dirt on top. So I knew that it would start breaking down and build soil under the soil that I put on top. So that worked out okay, because I am going to not make the beds as deep. And then my son and I are going to go to a place that sells bulk compost and soil compost mixture. And we're going to bring in at least 1 trailer full, if not 2. And I'm going to top off all the beds, the fence line, and then I think I'm going to grow herbs around the deck over there. So let's walk over that way. So I started doing the same thing around the deck that I did at the fence back there. I put down cardboard, and then I started putting down the grass clippings over that. And then I've not really been composting that much, but if I have some scraps, I'll come out here and just throw them on top of the ground. I figure it doesn't hurt anything. It's messy looking, and I'll need to get out here and clean the yard up as I'm prepping the beds and get everything looking better. But for now, I'm not worried about it. We never come back here. But I can't get this Tabasco out of the ground on my own by just pulling. It grew so big and had such thick stalks that I'm going to have to dig it out, or when my son helps me with that compost load, he can help me get it out. But yeah, I think I'm going to grow herbs in this L-shaped, and I went ahead and put the cardboard down on this side of the deck, and the grass clippings, but I'm pretty sure that this stays in shade a lot. I need to figure that out, but because of this fence here and the house, it might get morning sun, but yeah, I don't think it gets full sun, so I'm not sure what I'm going to grow there, but we'll figure it out. And then you can see all the cardboard that the wind took off the hill and piled up there. I need to get that cleaned up. But yeah, up on this hill, I want to terrace it. So I'm going to have to get some bigger rocks in order to build the terraces. And what I did last year is put the cardboard down, and then I just left an open area in the center there and made some hills, and I grew pumpkins and what else? Pumpkins, and that was it. 2 kinds of pumpkins up here. I did have loofahs that I tried to start, but they never took off. And I think it's because of this tree. When it leaves out in the spring, it shades that top back corner. And I don't think I'm going to be able to grow anything across or by that fence. I tried to grow sunflowers too, and that just didn't work. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I'd like to get it terraced this spring, but with me having to do the work for the other beds, I don't think it's going to happen, but I could work on it during the summer. It's just a wasted space in the yard because it's on the hill, and it's a pain to mow. Nothing grows in that very back corner, so I need to do something with it. And so this is my little building. I got it at a local auction house for a couple $100, and it's just plastic corrugated flimsy material, but when you put it all together, it makes a nice building. I keep my gardening stuff in it and the lawnmower, and I don't even have it anchored down. It's filled up with enough stuff that if the wind the other day didn't budge it, it's not going anywhere. And then I tried putting this mailbox post in the ground last summer, and I didn't use any concrete. And the wind knocked it over. And then my mom had new doors put in, so there's some wood from the door frames. And then where's the door? So I bought one of the doors that she replaced over here, but I don't know where it is. Why isn't it back here? Interesting. So I had a compost pile here last year, and I'll probably do that again. And I got this wood because my idea was to build like a little mini greenhouse. So I have 2 pallets, 2 windows. I picked that window up on the side of the road. Somebody had painted 2 big sunflowers on it, so I was wanting to use it. But I just don't know if I have the gumption to build it now that I've started collecting items for it. We'll see. I don't know if I'll do it or not, but we'll see. And then inside the building, I've got milk jugs and Mountain Dew 2-liter bottles that I cut to make little terrariums with. And now I've learned about winter sowing, so I think I'm going to use them for winter sowing. And I need to get that started. Even though it's really, really warm right now, I don't want to do it until I'm sure, especially the things like tomatoes and peppers. I don't want to do it until I'm sure that we're not going to have another fall spring. I don't want things to germinate and then we get another freeze or cold and then we lose them. So I need to get, I've got some half bags of soil in here I need to get out. I've got some grow trays to start some stuff in. I've got some salad containers that I've saved. So I need to just dig through here and get all of that stuff out. And I'll probably do it right now. When I get done with this video. Oh, and then I also had this 3-tier planter that I grew herbs in, and it did really well. I grew sage and basil and parsley and was able to get a bunch dried, and I'm still using it. So I don't know what I'll put in those next year. The plants you put in just don't grow very big, and with certain herbs I want to grow more than what I did, and other ones maybe not so much. So I'll have to figure that out. Plus I got the stacking ones from Dollar Tree that are bigger than these. So we'll see what I wind up planting in those. So I think I'll set you up on the tripod as I pull stuff out of the building, and we'll go from there. Okay, there's everything. These are all the, let me get this strap out of the way. These are all the Mountain Dew 2-liter bottles already cut. A big aluminum tray that I can use to set other trays or pots in. An actual seed starting tray. Vinegar jug, milk jugs, and then different bags of potting mix. So yeah, I think this would be a good start, and we'll see where this gets us. So one more thing I wanted to show you is up on the deck, and we'll head up that way now. Oh, and this ground cover here, I don't like it. I don't like the color, I don't like the look of it. And I tried to cut it out, but it's so established under the deck that I can't dig it out. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to cut that way back and hope it doesn't grow much this summer. But this is what has been growing on the back deck since I think November is when I planted this. And this is lettuce in a little greenhouse that I made using just a clear tote and a bag of potting mix. Look at that. There's some spinach in there too. It's been really slow growing. We've not eaten a lot off of it. I was mainly doing this to see how it would do. The idea is that you would just cut off some, not cut the whole plant back, and then it would keep growing. So there's just 2 of us at the house, and I still buy salad mix, but if I'm doing something like a spring roll or hamburgers and we just want some fresh lettuce, I'll come out here and cut some off. It's been really nice. It's good to know that I can do this. And when it got down to like 0 degrees and we had that real cold spell that lasted for about 3 days, I just pulled it inside the house there, right inside the door, and left it. And then when it started warming back up, I put it back out here. And it's worked just fine. So thanks for taking a look at my garden with me today. It had been a while since I'd been out here. I did come out here yesterday when I tried to film the video and did a little bit of looking around, but it's good to see that I'm excited about the changes that I'm going to be making to the beds, and I'm excited for the growing season. So be sure and come back. My next video would be me going through my seeds so I can decide what I'm planting and what I have, and if I need to go buy more seeds. See you then. Bye-bye.